Gaming Today presents Cash Considerations.
Welcome to the Cash Considerations podcast. Today is Thursday, May 21st, and we are recording again via Zoom. We have the boys in the house. We have still no sports actually going. We made the return of a couple. We'll touch on those. We're going to do our thing, and let's bring in the boys right now. First, in the same room, with one microphone, two dudes. Let's go. Guy on the left here is Mo Toy Pearson at Eat These Takes. What's up, Mo?
Man, I just got off. So, I decided to come through to Allen, see what was going on. And, the cast is what the deal is right now. So I'm glad to be here.
Excellent, excellent. And right there to your immediate left is Alan Berg at %Berg. AB, what's up?
I hate how everything is started already.
No, it's done. It's already done. It's already been said. He's already made the introduction.
It's very good because you guys got one microphone and we can hear everything you're saying. And you have to be close. So you can't even get away from each other. I like it.
Minus $7 that I choke Mo before the end of this show.
That's right.
My. Well, we have video now. So you can follow us, on YouTube under the Cash Considerations.
It should be helping me, really.
Speaking of Gaming Today, let's welcome in Howard Barish, the managing editor at Gaming Today.
HB.
What's
HB's
up?
letting the legalities know.
Hi, guys. I'm a little concerned about that opening segment with the two in the same room and some of the innuendo there, but we'll leave it where it was.
There was no innuendo, but
He's the guy that's running things, ladies and gentlemen.
use your imagination.
He's crushing us.
Yeah.
The other box is our producer, fresh cut, fresh shaved, kind of playing hurt, but he's here. Reynolds, I am Reynolds 2305. There's the head on. All right, boys, let's just get into it. We got a bunch of things we want to touch on. And, for the loyal listeners of the show, at GT Cash Consider on Twitter, thank you guys again for listening. And hopefully we can keep bringing you something that'll, pass your time and hopefully get some entertainment out of. So format of the show is going to be this tonight. We're going to touch on some NFL stuff, which we always do. We'll swing it around to all of these crazy scenarios that the leagues are going to come back, hopefully, and play in a different type of situation.
Please, God.
Yeah, anything. And then maybe some other things, some combat sports. Maybe we'll mention the golf match that's coming up this weekend, things like that. So let's just kick it off real quick with the talk of the NFL right now is Dak Prescott and this crazy contract that is reportedly out there, not out there. He wants a short one. The Cowboys want a long one. All I know is I saw an initial thing. It said 5 years, $175 million. Can't be, right, AB? You're shaking your head. What do you got?
No, this is all garbage. This is the classic Kirk Cousins, Redskins deal where they're trying to put all this on Dak's shoulders and say that, we're offering him all this money and all this. Listen, if he's probably right at that Russ number of 30, 32, 34, 35 a year, he's going to sign it because he's going to play for the Cowboys. And that alone, you're going to make so much money off of endorsements being the Cowboys quarterback with the team he has around him. They're going to have success. They don't want to pay him because they know they've committed so much money to everybody else that they're trying to bleed this out as long as they can.
If you're Dak, do you want to so not say like just kind of gamble or bet on yourself, kind of like Joe Flacco did, a few years ago and take the short contract for the potential of the long one? You think so?
Absolutely. I mean, look at Cousins, right? He signed the franchise tag with the Redskins, and then when he went to Minnesota, he got 3 years, $90 million guaranteed, the entire contract, which is unheard of in the NFL. There are teams out there that would pay Dak $40 million a season. Like,
It's a race thing.
It's – oh, man. like I mean, we've been doing this podcast a long time. I'm a big Dak guy. I think he's a phenomenal talent. The way he can read defenses and make audibles at the line that have shown over and over again that have caused success. Garrett has always been in his way. I've never been a McCarthy fan, but hopefully year one McCarthy will show like that kind of like level that Dak can get to. But
you like McCarthy better than Garrett?
Yeah,
no, of course.
Which is crazy.
Almost rhetorical.
Because I hate it.
Yeah, I feel like you should have never answered.
But and he also said all the things about like I'm hiring an analytical team and all these other things.
Yeah,
so
big deal.
We'll see. Did he change? Probably not, because people just don't. But Dak has all the cards as far as I'm concerned. When you're a quarterback that is arguably at worst top 8, there's somebody out there that's going to give you $40 million a season. So he has no reason to rush.
HB, you got Montana over one shoulder. You got Dan Marino over your head.
Eli.
You got Eli on your other shoulder. There's some really Hall of Fame quarterbacks there. Where does Dak stand for you as far as like NFL quarterbacks in? Is it justifiable that he's the top quarterback paid of all time?
What year is he heading into?
This is year number what, 4 or 5?
I think it's 5, right?
I think it's 5.
I think it's 5.
Yeah. What do we know? What have we learned? He's good.
I'm leaving.
I don't know. There's a couple bad breaks, right? I mean, it's the Cowboys.
Serviceable. I mean, what? He's better than serviceable. He's good. He's a solid quarterback. I think we need 4 or 5 more years to understand how it's going to play. I think the negotiations and all this stuff is
Jared Goff makes $30 million a season. He is nowhere near in that class. Yeah. So that's my thing.
But I back to the deal. Apart from who makes what money, I think this is all posturing. He's going to stay with the Cowboys. This is just let them play their game right now. He's going to get a lot of money. But I think they told him, just don't even look at any headlines. We'll make this deal happen. It always works out that way. He's not walking.
Right.
Not with that team.
I don't know. Somebody opens up the
they overspent.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I agree. Like if it was any other team, it'd be hard to say, but I think I agree with HB. Like with that specific team, the Cowboys, like you'd want to win a Super Bowl with this team. I'm pretty sure with the guys they have now, you would want to stay.
The problem is if they sign Dak, they're signing no one else for
no one else, right?
Yeah. I mean,
that's the issue.
But it's not any other position. It's the quarterback. It's the most important position in football.
Agree. That's why they should do it. But will they? I don't know.
Yeah. But don't they have a pretty young O-line? I mean, they're pretty intact.
Yeah. They dipped off the second half of the season last year, which I think is a bad sign. And that may even be some hesitancy from Dak.
Dalton's
possibly.
Ready to rip, dude. Andy Dalton's ready to rip, man. When he gets in, he's going to slaughter it.
Oh, man.
Andy Dalton's going to crush.
Yeah, he's competing for the starting spot there. That's great.
Yeah. I can't wait for that Bears discount. 3 years, $42 million. No, for Dak. Dalton is cutting it up. I can't wait. Please make it happen.
Well, speaking of, Dak is the guy in Dallas. We kind of mentioned in our rundown here before the show, the guy in New Orleans, referred to as the guy. Taysom Hill, the placeholder after Breeze. So obviously the Winston deal is a 1-year deal. Is that what you're making of this?
Oh my God. Well, how long have we been talking about Taysom Hill? Like, how long has he been almost, I wouldn't say a household name, but everyone now knows him as the Swiss Army knife, and that's fine. I don't know. But considering him as a guy in the NFL to run an actual football team, it's tough to say. We watched him at BYU when we liked him, and he was injured 45 times. But I don't know. It's just hard to say if he could be good or not.
He's going to be 30, number one.
Age is a factor.
He is Tim Tebow 2.0.
Wow. He's certainly fun to watch when he's in there. But, yeah, for him to be that guy and all this, come on. I don't know. The Saints are maybe they have to say that right now with, Breeze being so close to the end. But you can't say he's the guy. He's the guy. Like you say, he's the guy when he comes in and does make plays. It's great. But yeah,
who knew him? Like, no, I can't. I'm just trying to backtrack. Who knew about him before? Like, he was lining up at like tight end, a block at the 2-yard line. Like,
I agree. He's a novelty act.
A great player, but I mean, like, like to run a team and to learn the playbook and do all that type of stuff. Like, it's hard to play for a team, especially for the Saints, who are incredibly good at passing. And he might have the weapons. I just don't know if he'll be as good as Breeze.
Well, that's big shoes to fill. I don't know if they're trying to make it, as good as Breeze, but, you got to get he's more than a serviceable backup, but to be handed the keys to the car after Drew Brees, that's a big ask, and I don't think anybody's saying that right now, right, AB?
If I could get plus money on Winston versus Taysom Hill, I would take Winston.
Come on. Yes.
Like, who's the starter afterwards? Yeah.
All day.
Yeah.
All day.
So NFL Week 1 starters. It's a good discussion, a good topic to kind of throw back and forth. It's crazy because when you go through and look, there's not a lot of disputes as to who the starters are. Really, there's not a lot of like quarterback controversies, I would say. But the ones that are may be interesting, and they're young guys. I mean, start with Miami. I'll go to you first, HB, real quick. Do you think Tua's going to start Week 1 for the Dolphins?
Yes.
You do?
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Do
Plus
you
money.
guys think? I don't think he is myself. What do you think, Mo and Alan?
You want to go first?
Go ahead. It's your guy. It's your man.
That's your guy.
Yeah, I'm just as legit on it. If he's healthy enough to play, he'll start. Simple.
That's the key.
He's got it all, dog. He's the one. Don't not stop.
Here's my thing. Why rush him? Like, the Dolphins aren't winning the Super Bowl this year, so like, just let him.
What do you mean they're not winning the Super Bowl this year?
No way.
Listen, just because Mo has like 500 on them doesn't mean they're going to win the Super Bowl.
I need to get the jerseys first.
Well, that's true.
I need to make that happen.
You can buy that after they win.
That's fine. I'm all right with that.
I don't know. I'm with you, AB. I don't think there's a reason to put him in, especially with the injury questions. Sit back, get a camp, throw Fitzy in there, let him do his thing, ease into it. He may not have to play it all this year, period. I mean, if injury dictates it or Fitzy's really at the end of the rope, throw him in there. But let's keep him. He's long-term.
Ticket sales are involved. And this guy's the leading sales. Like, he has the leading sales in jerseys. Like, they're going to play him. They need to see the kid. They need to see him. And they need to learn how to pronounce his last name. Like, there's a lot of things going on right now.
Yeah?
Personally, I just need to see him win.
Say the last name for everyone so they know.
Tonga Vailoa. Yeah, Tonga Vailoa. But that doesn't matter because there's no W's in that. You need to get a W. He needs to win. Like, that's all he needs. Brian Flores needs to ship that, and he needs to start winning immediately, like fast.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Speaking of winning, what do the Chargers do? They're going to – I mean, do they play the kid or no?
Man, it's tough, man. I don't know if I was as big a fan of Herbert coming out of Oregon.
They shouldn't have picked the kid. So, no,
Agreed.
they shouldn't.
Yeah, I like that.
That's one thing. That's already done. But they got him now. If can he win the job out of camp? He get thrown in there?
He has too much talent around him.
Right?
He has too much talent around him to not start week 1. Like, if I'm the general manager, I'd rather know what I have with him. Like, unless he's a total train wreck in, mini camps if they have them, or preseason if they have them. And I think that's another element of why I don't think Tua should start, because he probably is going to get no reps. Like, they may start week 1 and just, this is the preseason, but it's regular season.
Who's the alternative to Herbert?
Tyrod Taylor.
I like Taylor.
Which, if you talk to certain guys, there's a lot of pro Tyrods out there because he's never had much talent around him.
Bill's had talent. No.
Not Charger talent.
Jokes.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know. I think it's interesting because the Chargers are closer to winning than the Dolphins and closer to making the playoffs. And a veteran who doesn't turn the ball over may be better than a rookie in his first season starting in the NFL.
I
Yeah.
agree. With that talent.
It's weird though. Like I would say like that's probably normally the case, but there's a part of me that almost says I would almost rather bench the young kid and go to Tyrod, knowing that I have a veteran that maybe isn't as talented, but
can get the job.
maybe he can. If they go 0-3 because Herbert looks terrible, then they know. And if they end up 6-10, they can do it all over again, like the Josh Rosen scenario.
Pretty tough conference
compared
as well.
to Josh Rosen. That's not on the top of the list for me. The Patriots. Is Stidham the guy? AB or HB? Is Stidham the guy? No. Who starts for New England week 1?
Belichick's going to find somebody else.
Cammy.
Cam Newton.
Come on. Please, God. What do you think, HB? Like, that would be fun.
These things are bettable.
I think that's an alternative.
Yeah.
I think that's a viable alternative.
I think he's going off at 3-1, right? Last time I seen Cam Newton to the Patriots, he's the favorite to be in New England.
Where's that posted?
Is that not right?
Stidham's minus 220 last I saw.
To actually be the starter.
I think you can lay it. It's easy money. I think if nothing else, Bill Belichick wants to prove that I don't need Tom Brady. I can take this bum out of Georgia and make the playoffs.
That sucks. That fucking sucks. I hate Belichick, man. But
That's the kind of
seems
legend
right.
he is.
No, it seems right.
If
though.
he goes
him against the
10-6
world.
and wins the East with Jared Stidham,
He might win the East at 8-8.
I might try to get a job on the
take.
Patriots coaching staff just out of principle. He does that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, you can put that pencil in your ear and make the return of the Patricia
Oh my God.
with that beard and everything else.
Patricia? There's got to be at least one Patricia
I've gotta
joke
be-
every.
I've got to be a terrible football
Episode.
mind before they'll buy that.
My God.
We got to mention it because it's on the rundown. The Bears. I still think Mitchell Trubisky is going to be the quarterback week 1. I could be 100% wrong.
What's our bet on that? Me and you.
Yeah,
Heads up.
that's our bet. You're sold at Foles,
Both sold.
and there's no two ways about it. I don't know. Is that the short-term answer? Is that the long-term answer? Is that just we got a guy, we signed him, that's it?
Well, the GM and the coach hope it's the long-term answer because if it's not, they're probably not there next year if the Bears are 6 or less wins, I would think. They're finished. So it's either a full offensive rebuild and a brand new coordinator and all that and hope the defense stays intact, or Nick Foles works out and they get the guy that was with the Eagles. But who knows? But I truly believe the trade was – we need a better quarterback than Mitch. Who can we go get? This guy fits our system. He makes sense. We're not gonna try to waste time on a rookie and develop him and all that. So, what are our options? And that was it.
HB, the Bears making the playoffs? Yes or no?
No.
No. Motoy, Bears playoffs? Yes, no.
No, man.
I gotta ask you, AB. They making the playoffs?
Oh, come on. They're not making the playoffs.
Oh, I can't wait.
Are we tanking for Trevor?
Oh God. What was the line I told you?
Sunshine.
I said we're gonna take the girl.
Yeah, the girl from Clemson.
Yeah, the girl from Clemson. Like, yeah, we're gonna go 3-13 and take the girl from Clemson.
I hope he sees this. I hope he sees this goddamn cat. That is a
They're gonna fuck themselves even harder. They're just gonna go 7-9 and have no
Perfect.
one.
Yeah. That's Bears football.
right in the
there.
midst too, like right
That's
in the
right.
mix of the.
Start out 4-1. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have the number 1 pick in the year. We can take Andre Bargnani. Oh wait, no, that's the Raptors. My bad.
Oh.
talked about Bargnani yesterday.
Or we can take the second pick, Dustin Ackley, when Mike Trout's on the board.
Oh, sweet. There you go. Wow.
Brutal.
There's some good ones.
Sports are pain.
Easy to say in hindsight.
Right. I'll go with you guys though. I say the Bears don't make the playoffs. We'll keep that one, in our back pocket. We'll hopefully be able to talk about that.
Yeah.
Hopefully when NFL season starts, whenever that will be, hopefully it's on time. Speaking of sports starting on time or just starting in period, what do you guys make of this NBA hopefully starting in July in Orlando, it looks like, is where they're going to really make this happen. I don't know. I mean, again, we keep hearing about it. We keep talking about it. One, is it going to happen? And two, do you like the way at least the format looks like it's going to be? Let's just, for whoever wants to take it first, just take it.
AOT.
What's that?
Never mind.
No, go ahead.
Describe the format
You already know what
in
the
the
deal
Cliffs
is.
Notes version. What's the format?
AB, what do you got?
There's no real details. It was just like a player that leaked out that it might start July 25th and that there was practices were going to start in June. My thing was like, why are we waiting? They need a month to practice. Like, they're professional athletes. Like, what are we doing?
Did they outline a format?
No, well, I mean, there's a bunch of different things being thrown about.
Yeah.
My thing is, like, the teams that are out of it, do they have to be a part of this?
The last rumor that I read, because nothing is put into stone at all, it was that they're going to play 5 games and then there's a playoff. So basically, the teams who are 5 games back are done. They got nothing to play for, and and that's why I was like, that just sounds stupid. Because why, if you're the Hawks, like, what do you care? Like, why are you even showing up? Like,
yeah, like, why would Golden State, come and risk even going, playing, possibly getting hurt after a long layoff? It doesn't make much sense, but my God, we all need it. We all need the NBA back. Yeah. We need some sports back to talk about, see, watch, and just get back to some sense of normalcy in the sports world, let alone our own lives. But, man, if I'm a guy on that team, like, would you want to go back, Mo? I mean, Mo, you love to compete, bet, talk sports, whatever. Would you want to go back and play?
Yeah, man. I think it was like a big deal that, the players themselves, they, like, formed a united front, A lot of these guys talk a lot of mess on social media about, who's better, of whatever players that are talking about each other. But, yeah, like, they're all connected, in somewhat. And obviously they're connected to us, guys that, that we talk about, or especially in the business that we're in. But, yeah, man, like, these guys should be able to come back. They have families as well. They know what the deal is, but they're ready to play. Regardless of them getting paid, it's just their job to, play basketball. That's what they do.
well, I think at the end of the day, that's it, right? Is that if they don't play, they're not getting paid. Because why would the owners pay these guys if they're not even getting TV revenue? Like,
Exactly.
I mean, that just seems ludicrous. I mean, no matter what, the owners are taking a bath. So, do a little bit, play some ball. I don't understand why they wouldn't be playing in early July, though. I just think that's ridiculous. It should be, if they're going to do a regular season, there should be like at least 12 games probably.
Right. Yeah, I don't know exactly how many games were left in the season when it got suspended. It was close to 15 to 20, I think, somewhere in that neighborhood. They're not going to finish that whole thing out. It's going to be abbreviated. But either way, no fans, one location. Let's hope it gets done.
And what happens if they pick up in July? What happens to the fall training camp and next season? Is that affected?
Hopefully they start the season in December. I think that's a brilliant idea. I hope that the NBA considers that. And, I think it would be great if the NBA kicked off on Christmas. I think that'd be a really cool thing.
They've done shortened seasons, like, as far as holdouts, like they could just start the season later and get a same deal.
But wouldn't it be sick if exactly.
Right,
if the
that's what I
finals
mean.
were like in
It'd be
August
fine,
when like everyone's already sick of baseball?
Yeah, I can't see in a sport like that how that would be affected.
Yeah, because invariably they can't start in July and then come back to regular fall training camp October 1.
Right.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the other league that's really pushing forward is the NHL. And, the mention of like 4 cities being hubs in a 24-team tournament, like a best-of-5 format first. The top seeds get buys, and then they go forward. I read it was Toronto, Vancouver, Edmonton, and Vegas were the 4 cities being mentioned. You guys aren't hockey guys, but would you be excited if the NHL, they could actually be the first ones back?
Yes.
Yeah.
Without question.
Hockey,
yeah.
baby.
Any sport that could just come through out of nowhere, it just gives hope for the rest of them, I guess, and that's simple to say, but no one's done it yet. But yeah, the NHL itself, it's fun to watch. I can't imagine not me being mad if it comes back and it has to do with what I do for a living.
Are we gonna sneak into T-Mobile?
I'm gonna fight everyone. as soon as the first sport comes back, we're fighting everybody.
Perfect. All right.
No media badges from us.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need no
That's
badges.
okay. Yeah, we don't need it. Yeah.
We don't need no stinking
No,
badges.
we don't need it. It's all good.
Yeah. Which sport do you think is more of an effect playing not in front of fans? NBA, NHL?
Affected by not having fans?
Yeah, as far as even just making lines or playing the sport.
NBA.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's NBA as well. What do you guys think over in the corner?
I don't know. College football is pretty bad if that ever does come back.
If we're talking about
Also,
every
one other
sport,
thing, just those 2 sports.
oh, just those 2. I'd
NHL
have
or
to say
NBA?
NHL.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that there isn't the home road dynamic that there is in, say, the NBA, but I don't know. I think that teams will play better when they have their fans behind them, even though that, there is that, like I said, there's that dynamic of it, but I think they'd perform worse if they don't have their fans, I guess is what I'm saying.
It's crazy because you can hear everything. And I don't know what would actually be worse, hearing all the sticks, pucks, stop and starts on the ice, or the damn basketball court squeak nonstop. I don't know. For me, I don't want to hear the basketball court squeak, but I know playing in front of fans for the NBA, I think it just has – you're closer, you hear everything. It's just different. I think a lot of guys grew up playing in front of nobody in hockey, and you're kind of used to, I think they would adjust to it better. It would be not as big of an effect maybe in the NHL, but I could be completely off on that too. So I don't know. Baseball's a disaster. The negotiations, the things they're going back and forth saying, fighting about the money and things like that. I don't know if they're going to do it. I don't know if it's just posturing, really trying to negotiate. What do you think?
Does it feel like they're kind of screwed because they got all guaranteed contracts?
That's definitely a factor in it, and the factor that they kind of agreed to a deal, and now they're not going to have fans, so they want to change the deal, and the players are going to take the brunt of it, but it's really the owner's got to be look, we got to make this happen.
Are they though? Because I saw the last proposal was something about 71% of the money was going to the players, and I'm like,
oh wow,
if they're getting that much of the revenue, I'm like, it sounds like the owners are the ones that are getting buried.
And Dave, it really doesn't matter because they haven't had fans for 10 years in most cities.
He's right though. Really, in a lot of cities, over half the cities, they haven't had fans.
You turn on a fucking Pirates-Reds game in June, and there's a lot of seats that are empty.
People, maybe.
Nobody's there, and that goes for a lot of cities. Even go back to your Orioles. The only team that draws in Baltimore, and it's a great stadium in New York, is the Yankees. When the Yankees are there, there's people there.
If you come to the ballpark,
St. Louis, the few home teams that draw, Wrigley, St. Louis, Boston, but not many.
Right.
If you come to the ballpark and buy a ticket, Not through StubHub. You get a $50 reverse run line parlay.
Those Florida Marlins and Tampa Bay Ray games have a lot of empty seats.
Woo! Big stadiums, a lot of people disguised as empty seats in them.
A lot of aqua seats in that Marlins stadium.
Woo!
They're loving it, though. Those seats are loving it.
We'd be going.
I don't care about
And
nothing.
sweating.
I'd be in there hard. I would be in there.
First 5 total sweats would be
I feel like
incredible.
the last legit baseball game I went to was at a Marlins game, come to think about it.
Wow.
Was there video of you at that baseball game like there was at the Aces?
Oh, yeah, but I don't know if I could show it. I mean, no, I can. I can show it to some people.
Because you
That's,
stood up, you
no,
were pretty boisterous at the
Go
Aces
see
game.
Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper was involved, our guy.
Yep.
Yeah, he was involved. And speaking, I guess it's a good segue to say Bryce Harper thinks he has his own rules for this too. I don't know if you've seen that. Wrong. He's wrong, dog. He has no idea. I want to tell him so bad. One day I'm going to tell him that those rules are not good.
He's out here in Henderson all the time.
Oh, most
He's out and
definitely.
about.
Yeah. No, I'll see him. I'll catch up with him. I'm not going to tell him.
No. You ain't telling him shit. You ain't telling him shit.
That's
Well,
too
I
good.
mean, we've seen now UFC did it, no fans. NASCAR just did it, no fans. Golf just had that match play thing, no fans. It can be done. It's probably going to be done, at least with these sports. And then, we'll see. We'll go further on with football is a whole nother discussion, what they're going to do. Colleges are cutting programs left and right. Every day there's another college cutting a program because they're trying to figure out what they're doing budget-wise. Switching gears back to the UFC, the Westgate posted a line for Ngannou and Jones, which, for you fight guys, Ngannou minus 130, Jones plus 110. AB, first reaction to that?
It's pretty crazy how if this line was out 2 years ago, it's probably like Jones minus 220. But his last 2 fights, he looks beatable, and every time Ngannou steps in the ring, he's just massacring somebody. So it's an interesting line, and the fact that it hasn't had any serious moves leads me to believe that it's a good line. So,
well, I mean, as far as like serious moves, so you guys just, you were in the book over the weekend. How's the action been with everything, just in general? I mean, Mo, you talked about it last week. The UFC handle was through the roof for you guys at Circa. AB, you're in the room at Caesars. Are you still getting decent action? And are you more aggressive, less aggressive in moving lines in those situations?
For us, it's decent. We're such a huge conglomerate of properties that, like, when we don't have the public action, a place, like where Matoy works, like, they cater to the sharps, and they're going to take bets from the sharps. And so they're going to definitely, I think, do like really, really strong handle, whereas we usually have a lot of public money coming in. So, aggressively, it just kind of depends, I've got my list of guys that I'll make a strong MMA move on, but for the most part, it was pretty quiet. We had a good amount of action, but on a regular basis, I mean, it was a little bit better than a normal fight night, I guess I would say. The pay-per-view did good. It definitely had a lot more action than a normal pay-per-view. It wasn't in Vegas.
Right. HB, you talked to some books and, you put out sheets from other places and stuff. And, I saw you talk to Chris Andrews this week, interview with him. What do you hear as far as like just action in general and things that are going on, at least in Vegas or even outside of Vegas with the books?
You guys all right over there?
Yeah, no, we're fine. We're right.
I'm hearing that everybody, it's sort of like, that military saying, hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
I think that everybody's just trying to anticipate what opening doors will feel like when the retail business comes back. You mentioned Circa and Mo's Place. It's very unique. They have a different type of customer. They take a lot of those bets on mobile versus what Alan's discussing, where they really rely on people walking through the doors and putting money across the counter in the retail atmosphere. I think for stations and South Point, where those are big local hangouts where people physically show up, they are waiting to see what happens with that business. And we still don't have any dates on any sports. So frankly, we don't know.
Right.
Their app business is not like other places. They have apps, they have nice apps, and they do some business, but it's not like the kind of action that these guys have.
Right. Yeah. Mo, how's the mobile deposits and stuff going for you guys? You're not running out to the car and grabbing any money, are you?
No, well, not yet.
Sprinting.
Not yet, not just yet. I think it's going pretty well. They opened it 2 weeks ago for the first initial UFC card. I think was on Saturday 2 weeks ago. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was a big hit then. As far as like from a customer service standpoint, I mean, there's always people out there that greeting you, giving you water. We're giving you T-shirts if you're like a first, time, if you're first timer signing up. So yeah, most of the praise goes to Jeff Benson, who runs all that stuff. Kind of puts that stuff into effect. Obviously, Matt Metcalf and Derek Stevens and all that stuff trickles down to the rest of us. So yeah, as far as anybody that's involved with the curbside deal, either depositing or trying to sign up, it's a big deal. And to this day, it's still going pretty well after like 2 weeks.
That's fantastic.
Most definitely. Best in Vegas.
Yeah.
I put my life on it. I'm telling you right now. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care.
If you have to go out and get any of the money, just make sure you stretch before you go out. I don't want you pulling a hammy.
Yeah, I think I got hamstring issues. You know what's going on.
Yeah.
He's choked. Minus 700 cashes. He's been waiting. Been waiting for that.
So this Korean baseball league, it's been a great topic, and Willie at Gaming Today is putting out a pick every day. There's guys that are putting it out on Twitter. We see, one of my guys, Jared Smith in New York, is putting out picks every day, and I see it even like Koken, and there's just a lot of people getting involved.
Sick.
Yeah, it is. Are you guys seeing legitimate action on that, or is this just the passing fancy of something that's on? And I mean, like Lindemann's actually, posting the stuff, and he's got charts, and he's got,
the kid loves baseball.
Yeah, he does.
There's something wrong with Lindy.
He's putting in the model work and all the things. But really, is this something that books are, I don't know, counting on? I mean, you read some other stuff that's just table tennis is getting ridiculous action. That's the thing. People are betting on that stuff.
I don't even know what to say.
Baseball is baseball.
Korean baseball gets immediate bets the second we light it up, and then it's like scalper's paradise.
Yeah.
Or buyback, or however you want to put it.
I mean, dude, it's a pretty volatile market.
It's a volatile market, exactly.
So yeah, there's I would assume for the action that we get, because obviously if there's scalpers involved, I mean, we could take action on the same game at like 3 different prices and then move it accordingly. But there's like 2 or 3 guys that probably have an opinion that will book towards. Lucky for us, we got like a couple guys that actually have a clue about some of the teams or some of the players. I mean, it's not just all Korean guys. Some of those guys are foreigners, not racist. But they're Americans, some guys that we've heard of, especially, them being American or whatever it may be the case, like it bakes into the number. So, it's I think it's going to grow. The only thing I'm hoping for is that at some point before 2:30 a.m. Pacific time, the goddamn market doesn't steam the same way it did at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Like that's the big part of it.
Hey, Mo. I was carrying out of my local sushi place, and I got a push on the Dinos.
Oh, no, you did. No, you did. No, you're not lying. He's not lying.
Wait, what's the sweat at 2 a.m.?
Is it Dinos or Dinos?
Dino. I don't know. I think it's Dinos.
Dinos.
It is
Dinos.
Dinos.
I know.
I don't know either.
You
HB's right.
too?
I don't. Not tonight.
Oh,
Yeah. No, I'm saying like the steam that you see like at 9 a.m. that day, because you're seeing the same steam hit. My bad.
And the sushi reference wasn't meant to be racist because most sushi places are owned by Koreans.
It was racist as hell.
Did you know that? True story.
Is that true?
Yes.
Moving on.
Howard, is the horse racing still,
Nice segue.
is the horse racing still booming as far as track handle and things like that? We talked about it last week. I mean, like Santa Anita did monster numbers. Churchill.
Enormous.
Yeah.
The handles are 2 and 3X. And Churchill's got a very big card Saturday. If it doesn't rain, they're going to have an enormous day.
Is the days of going to the races done?
Been done for a while, other than the big days.
I mean, tracks are actually thriving without people there right now.
And Nevada can't bet on it as well.
Is it temporary? Or is this something that you think will be sustained? Or is it just the beneficiary of no other sports going on?
I think it's the benefit. I hate to say it. I think people need action. And, you find –
Real.
You guys all right?
Yes.
I'll have a horse for you Saturday. I do think I would love to hope that that's not the case, that people are embracing the sport. But I think because the menu has shrunk, I think it's benefiting from that.
As a horse guy, what do you make of this Belmont being first in this Triple
Hate it.
Crown?
Absolutely hate it. But they have a conflict with the Breeders' Cup because the Preakness is October 3rd. 4 weeks later is the Breeders' Cup. You can't run the Belmont and the Breeders' Cup in the same month.
Right.
It's not fair.
Where is the Breeders' Cup?
The Breeders' Cup this year, I think, is at Keeneland.
Okay. So weather won't be an issue. Yeah, it's very interesting because a lot of like the horse racing traditionalists are all bent out of shape. Belmont's
They're changing the distance of the race.
Changing the distance of the race for the first time. But again, we're in changing times. Everybody's adjusting, and even horse racing, as old as it is, and as old as all the horse players are, they got to change it and piss everybody off doing it. But again, at least it'll be we have a date, and they're going to go forward with it. Knock on wood.
And I know guys like Allen are looking very forward to opening their race books in their properties.
Guaranteed.
Oh,
Anything that can bring people to a window, we're definitely on board.
Okay.
No question.
yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. I'm excited that there's still going to be a Triple Crown.
I was reading something today. It's fascinating. If college football goes, Lord willing,
Please.
the Labor Day weekend, September 5th, Kentucky Derby, college football, baseball, possibly NBA playoffs still?
Yeah.
It'll be wild.
People will be fighting each other in the
week,
streets.
a week later, a Canelo fight.
And
everything's
NFL.
And a week later, the opening of the NFL, actually 4 days later on Thursday.
NFL.
Thursday, yeah. Wow.
Greatest September of all time.
Gambler's dream.
Gonna be busy times. Better make sure the apps are up.
If we have the vaccine or something close, or people are feeling a lot more better about being in crowds.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No,
I'll go tomorrow.
With your mask?
No.
When's the last time you wore a mask?
Hockey.
Mine was like nom.
Halloween?
Let's focus up. Let's bring it in here, guys.
All right. So, in the absence of sports, The Last Dance took over the sports world. And I know I watched it, loved it, pretty dialed in. It drew monster numbers for ESPN, filled a void. I didn't even realize it wasn't done until like a week ago or 2 weeks ago. They didn't do this last episode produce it and get it finished until just the week before they showed it. Very impressive effort. Just sum it up any way you want. A quick takeaway, maybe your favorite moment of the entire thing. I'll go to you first, Mo. Being the youngin', you got to see Jordan. You got to see the interviews. You got to see the highlights. What did you think?
I think the two moments that I had to choose between like what my favorite moment could have been was I think it was like 84 when him and Danny Ainge, I think he was 23. He just got out of college 2 years prior. Him and Ainge went to go play golf, and he gets smoked on the course for however much money because you know how Jordan is. And I think, you know, we've talked about this earlier. He's leaving the car, and one of like the authors of one of the books that he's involved in is in the car, you know, prior to that book being written. And he's telling him, he said, hey, tell your boy DJ I got something for him tomorrow. Like, he's 23. Like, he's playing golf before a game against the Celtics, one of the best teams in the history of the game. Like, and he gives them 63, like, in an overtime game. Filthy. Like, I've never seen – no one could do it, anything like that. Nobody. He went to play golf with Danny Ainge.
MJ.
You know what I mean? So that was, I think that moment I knew, you know, what kind of guy Jordan was as far as like a winner and, you know, just being himself. But I think the Gary Payton.
Yeah, that was good.
That's like my favorite part, man. The glove. I had no problem with the gloves. I ain't got no plan them.
When he laughed, it was incredible.
I just thought it was
I
funnier.
was tiring him out.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I think it would have been different.
I was hurting him.
Guarding him. I said it could have been 4-1, motherfucker. Shit. I just thought it was better because I didn't think he was making fun of him. I just thought he respected him enough to, like, you know, friends laugh at friends when they say stuff like that. You know,
Sure.
Not, you know, guys that they respect. So it wasn't like more of like a thing where like he didn't think Gary Payton was good. It was just more like, you're an asshole for it. I would have laughed at you 20 years prior than 20, you know, like it's,
Right.
I just thought it was like a camaraderie thing. So like that one, like to know that type of respect and, you know, you could talk shit to someone that was your peer and the Ainge, dude, this motherfucker played golf with him. The game, he just dropped 40 on him. Like, no, it's crazy. The whole thing was crazy, man.
AB, how about you? What'd you take away from it?
My two favorites were definitely the conversation he had with Bird after they eliminated the Pacers in Game 7.
Wasn't much of a conversation.
Yeah, it's just, you bitch, and go work on your golf game. I mean, just incredible stuff. When a guy like took Jordan to this much, and the face Larry Bird made when the Pacers went nuts was incredible in that one game.
Oh, yeah.
The other one is like I loved like realistically the whole series of how he was just trashing on Scott Burrell is one of my favorite things ever.
Guy took the brunt of it, man.
Oh man, it was incredible, and he was such like a nice guy, which made it even more funny. But I love the fact that I think it might have been it was either the final episode or the 9th episode when he was just like, don't go around Scott Burrell, don't tell him that shit. You're gonna scare the hell out of him. That was amazing. Just classic MJ, man. Great stuff.
HB, how about you?
I thought it was a poignant moment when they had the camera on him after he had come back from the baseball and they won the series against Seattle, and he was laying on the floor next to the training table just bawling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge.
You know, just had basically sapped him of everything.
Yeah, huge moment.
And then the second one, believe it or not, has to do with Scottie Pippen, who throughout the entire series, you know, he signed a bad contract. He was bitter about it. He sat out that last few seconds when Kukoc made the shot. Comes across as kind of being a jerk at times, but also we knew his talent. But in the last episode, he says, none of this would have happened without Jerry Krause, who they all hated.
Right.
But
Big
he came
moment.
clean and he said,
Big
you
move
know,
for him.
he was a phenomenal general manager for pulling this off.
Yep.
Krause
And
traded
I
for
thought
Pippen.
that was telling.
Pippen knew. Yeah, that was a big move, man.
Yeah.
That was
Huge.
I agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
You didn't hear it from Michael.
No. But Michael has a mind of his own. Like at least
Yeah, it's Michael's.
Yeah, Michael's
Right.
he's a
Yeah.
guy's in a different world.
And you know what's interesting too?
I don't even know what to think of him.
Look, a lot of these documentaries are made about athletes and rock and roll and all this. He was the executive producer.
Oh, yeah.
So, of course, you didn't hear about the Wizards afterwards and that debacle and things like that. So that in that point, it's a little fluffy. Not to take away from the series, it was phenomenal. But just remember who the executive producer was.
I think Five Dimes, HB. I think Five Dimes put out that I think it was a dog that you would see Jordan in a Wizards jersey, like 3-1.
Right.
So people were sweating it out late in the game, or late in the game.
Yeah,
It's
I know
all the
that.
game, really. But late in the documentary, like people were like, they might.
Come on.
Boom,
No.
credits. Credits. Nothing.
The president or the owner of the Wizards, Abe Pullen, fired him.
Oh wow! Wait, fired Jordan?
Basically, fired him and cut him at the same time.
Yeah.
He was the president of the team before he came back and started playing. Did you know that?
I did not know
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I didn't know
You're
that.
saying he fired him as the president.
Fired him as the president, and
Yeah.
then he came back and played as kind of like a lame duck.
Yeah.
Jordan picked Kwame Brown. They didn't put that in the Last Dance, motherfuckers.
That was his last name.
Hey, someone who is not talking about that right now?
You need to calm down.
But otherwise, a phenomenal series. You know,
Yeah.
really great.
No, I really enjoyed it. I had a couple.
Jordan picked Kwame Brown.
The Rodman episode.
NBA Finals.
Kwame.
The Rodman episode was
No
great.
tops that.
I couldn't get enough of the Rodman episode. The Steve Kerr stuff was really fascinating to me, and you know how that all went down.
I didn't know that story, and it seemed
Yeah.
like everybody else did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was really
Just something small right now. Arizona State punished him as fans because his pops passed.
I was there. They were chanting PLO.
You're
PLO.
involved.
It was so ugly.
You're involved.
God, you were at the game?
I was a freshman. I get a call from my
HB
father the next
HB's
day.
involved.
Wow.
Get
You
a
were
call
cheering
from my
it too in
father
the
the next day. and
second
he
I
goes,
seen you,
I-
dude.
My father says to me, "I hope you weren't one of those kids chanting that."
Wow. Yeah, that was
I seen HB in the front. I seen it on YouTube.
I had better hair.
the last tie up for the Last Dance. Jordan taking the last shot in the last game, against Utah, and each guy saying, like Pippen saying, "What were you doing?" I was getting the hell out of the way. Rodman saying, "What were you doing?" I knew he wasn't fucking passing the ball. And all that stuff was just so good, and it was finally the moment where you got to tie up all the loose ends, and it was MJ making the shot. So
The best part too was the fact that, like, had we known the backstory of Jordan and Russell,
Yeah.
he's not looking for Paxton or Kerr or any other white kid to shoot a wide open three. He's
No.
going to put it on that kid, no question about it. And they knew it. They were like, "Yeah, we're just going to go stand over here."
Why'd you go white?
Huh?
Why'd you go white?
Because Paxton hit the three and
Yeah,
had to be
third
done.
series, and Kerr hit the one. I mean,
right.
come on.
That's all. Back to the race thing again. Oh my God.
I spent 30 minutes of my time explaining to people if they got Byron and Brian Russell mixed up.
It doesn't matter.
I mean, you understand
That's
what I'm
what I
saying?
used to
Like,
say.
it's a Mandela effect, is what it is. Like, I feel like at some point it was Byron, like in 90, like
This guy
99.
spent a decade telling everybody he pushed off, and then when you see the footage, you're like, "Oh no, man, you
He
got
barely touched him.
Spells his name with an O. That's why the mix-up. I don't care if he pushed off or not. He still made the shot,
So
but I don't know his name.
Before we get out, do you want to do the bad beat? Do you guys have a bad beat story that you can each get out in a minute?
Wait, you have one.
No, I got one.
All right,
you
go
gotta
ahead.
do yours. Do yours first.
Okay, well, first off, I think like we've done hundreds of podcasts. In the Belk Bowl, I think 2012 still sticks in my mind. I would assume that's probably one of the worst bad beats of all time in sports history.
Available on YouTube.
Travis Kelce's involved, Cincinnati Duke, David Cutcliffe. They actually have the cut in the Bad Beats SVP.
Or SVP?
They
Yeah.
have that beat in the middle of it.
Yeah.
That's how famous it is.
Yeah.
They show a heavy-set Duke fan just rolling his eyes.
Oh
Like
my
that.
God, we were just crushed. I mean, like, I'm not even going back to it, but it was bad. You could go back deep into the cash considerations.
HB, do you have one?
Yes.
What is it?
Well, it involves Allen's Bears from the 2007 Super Bowl.
Oh.
I had the over 47, and they had 30 points in the first half. It poured. It was in Miami, and Prince was the halftime show. Phenomenal.
Prince,
poured
Purple
rain.
Rain, RP.
And they scored 16 points in the second half. It was a shit show. and it was 46, fell 46, game was 47.
Yeah,
Counting money at halftime at 30.
happens. Yep, that's one of those. AB, you got one?
Well, I'll give you guys multiple choice: 6-teamer, a fight, or damn, I just forgot the other one. All right, 6-teamer or the fight.
The fight.
The fight.
Fight.
Fight. All right. Reynolds will know this fight well. I had Alexander Volkov on a rollover at, I think, like 300 plus. I was up pretty big on that card. He completely dominated. Derek Lewis won like, I don't know, 14 of the 15 minutes scheduled and got clipped
14
with
minutes
like
and 40 seconds of that fight.
Thank you. Yeah. With 20 seconds left, he gets clipped by a Lewis right hand, and it was over. He went down, hammer fists, lost the fight. Absolutely brutal.
Were you getting plus money?
Well, no, but I think I'd won like 3 or 4 fights in a row, and the undercard and rolled it all onto that fight and was dominating the whole thing. And he was literally doing the right thing. He was like jabbing and backing up the whole time, and then he got caught with a looper, and that's the way it goes.
Love the hammer fist at the end.
Oh, I didn't.
Hammer fist. I had one that, when you mentioned this in the rundown, I kind of thought of, was years ago. I was at a buddy's house, had a A's White Sox last game of a parlay we had thrown together, and we had plus a run and a half with the White Sox at Oakland. Had a 4-run lead going to the bottom of the 9th. They scored a run. It was a 3-run lead. It was a 4-run lead. Either way, we had a run and a half, and they hit a walk-off grand slam to lose by 2 and blow the parlay. It was just one of those that you saw coming. There was an error. There was just base hit. Got the closer out of there, or got the closer in there to now create the save situation, walk a run in, and then walk-off grand slam, blow the game, lose 9-7, and that's bullpens. Can't wait for baseball to come back so we can have bad beats thanks to bullpens.
Games that people will see, like when they see A's White Sox 9-7, like it doesn't mean much to people, but like it does. I'm not kidding, man. Like you see it again, you're like, oh shit, like your soul is like.
And you're telling that story in 20 years.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh my god.
Yeah, those ones don't leave you.
Yeah.
HB, before I tie it up and get everybody out of here, you want to mention the gaming today and the digital subscription or anything that's going on right now? Because continuing to produce the weekly edition every week, remotely, digitally, it's been great. What do you got going on right now as far as that goes?
There's no subscription right now. Everything's complimentary. Basically, there's not enough content for us to consciously charge folks. We're not making any picks or doing anything. It's a 14 to 16-page digital edition. We've got unique stories. We touch upon whatever sports is going on. But last week we had a fantastic story by Rob Meach about bad luck $50 bills and what $50 bills have meant to people in gambling throughout the years. So things like that, just sort of, light and airy and having fun.
Good. All right. Well, that's Howard Barish. He's at Gaming Today News on Twitter. Follow him. We got Alan Berg, @% on Twitter. Motoy Pearson, @HeDeseTakes. Reynolds, I am Reynolds 2305 producing the show. Boys, great job tonight. We're going to try to keep doing it weekly, keep trying to string it together until we get back to some sense of normalcy. But in the meantime, if you go out, I guess wear your mask, be safe, keep grinding, keep doing the things you're doing. And to the listeners, please follow along at GT Cash Consider on Twitter. That's the show handle. And forward the show, follow the show, listen to the show. Thanks again for listening. We are out. Until next week.